everyone, and welcome to Rose Red Homestead. And today we're going to solve one of my problems that has stopped me from using some of my food storage supplies, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. First, I'd like to tell you that you've probably noticed that I am slipping freeze frame slides in to our videos that show the address where our bookstore is. The reason for that is that we get lots of people who look at our videos on their phones, and they cannot see on their phones, they can't see the description under the videos or the recipes or all of the other links that I put down there. And so they're asking, where do I find your books? Where do I find your books? So forgive me if you're not interested in the books, and that's just fine. Just close your eyes for a minute, it will go away in a minute. But I put them in so that people who don't have access to what is underneath the video will know where to go to check out our books. We're going to be putting more free stuff up there here pretty quick too, so it's a good thing for you to know there's good information up there. So today we're going to solve one of my problems that I have had for a long time, and it goes to self-reliance and food security. So I love pumpkin, and canning pumpkin, according to the USDA, you just put it in these chunks and then process it for the amount of time that the USDA says. And this is okay, except it never comes out even. When I want to make a pie, there's either too much or too little in here, so I have to open another one, and I have leftover chunks, and what am I going to do with them if I'm not making a soup or a stew or something that makes it easy? And so on my drive into school today, I found the answer. All I need to do is just dry this pumpkin. And by drying, I mean dehydrating or freeze drying, and turn it into powder. And so that's what we're going to do, because with powder, I don't have to worry about leftovers. I can reconstitute just the amount that I need for whatever recipe I'm using. And pumpkin powder is incredibly versatile and so yummy, and you can add it to so many things and use it for making many, many recipes. So today we're going to get started on our video in making fabulous pumpkin powder. Now I am going to use some of my jars of canned pumpkin. 2 years ago, we were in the middle of COVID and the middle of jars being so scarce, and Jim and I had camped up at Bryce and driven down to a little town nearby to a hardware store and found these blue quart jars. And I was so excited about getting blue jars because that's the only jars that were available. I would have taken any color jars at that point, but they kind of make the food look weird. So anyway, this is going to be the last of our blue jar pumpkin. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to use my previously canned pumpkin. I am going to drain it because I don't want a lot of moisture in it. See, aren't these pretty blue jars? I'll be figuring out something that doesn't look so weird. And then I'm going to open another one and get it draining so that it'll have time to really drain. And I'm going to put this just right down in the sink. Okay, I have both of those going. Now, what if you don't have home canned pumpkin? And we're going to put some in the freeze dryer. We're going to put some in the dehydrator so we can see how both of them do. Well, all you need to do is make pumpkin puree however you do it. You can take fresh pumpkin, cut it in great big old chunks, and you can bake it or you can boil it, but clean it off of the skin and then run it through your blender. And so that's what we're going to do today. Is I'm draining this to get a lot of the extra water out. Then I'm going to blend it and put it right in these freeze dryer trays. Okay, so here's this one. I'm not sure we can do all of this at the same time, but we are going to try. It's pre-cooked and it's very soft. And while that is going, I'm going to get another one draining so we can get them as dry as possible. And these are different colors of pumpkin. Each jar is a little bit different because we used pumpkins on sale, and I remember that I used jack-o'-lanterns for some of them, and then Jim found me some really nice sugar pumpkins. So we'll be blending all of these together. So let's see how this does. And I know that volume-wise I can put about a quart of liquidy stuff in these trays, and that's going to be more than 1 quart of the home canned pumpkin. So I'm probably going to have to go back outside and bring some more pumpkin in. So I'm going to continue with this, and we'll come back when I have these 4 trays loaded and some on a dehydrator tray, and we'll show you how that looks. Well, we are done. We have all 4 freeze-drying trays done, and the 3 trays from my dehydrator that I can do puree things, 3 out of 6 are the only ones. I just have 3 of these little inserts that work. And it took 9 jars of pumpkin to do all of this. Now, I wanted to show you this nifty little gadget that we found that has just, we love. These are corners that go on the freeze-drying trays. Like this, and then we just stack the tray right here like this, and it holds them up so they don't drag in the food on the tray below them. So we can carry this right out to the regular freezer and put it in the freezer. We're going to freeze this overnight, and then I will put it in the freeze dryer first thing in the morning, like 6 a.m. right before I leave to go down to the university. Meanwhile, we're going to put these 3 trays in the dehydrator right now. I'm going to put them at 159. That's the highest that mine goes, is 159 degrees Fahrenheit, and we'll just see how long it's going to take. Now, we won't be back for 2 more days, because freezing overnight plus at least 24 hours for these, and then I'm guessing 10 or 15 hours for these. So we will be back when everything is done and we're ready to powder, so we will see you then. Here we are finished. These finished yesterday. These finished about 15 minutes ago. This is our dehydrated pumpkin puree, and this is our freeze-dried. It took about 37 hours for the pumpkin in the freeze dryer because it was quite wet. You can see what happened here. Jim and I were worried about if we're going to be able to even get these off. So we're going to work with this one first. This is probably the most stark difference between, oh good. So it's very shiny on one side and it doesn't snap, but I don't dare dry this anymore. I don't know if it's going to powder, but we'll see. So I'm just going to peel this off. Kind of like fruit leather. Well, let me try that much and see how it goes. Well, one step done. Let me just put it in here. It looked a little scorched. I thought it smelled scorched, but it doesn't. It's okay. And that's more like crumbs than powder. Can you see that, Jim?
Yeah.
So it's a little different. but we'll see how it goes. So I'll finish this and come back when I have all the dehydrated stuff done. So this is what we have, about a cup worth of powder. One of the things that Jim and I were talking about off camera was that we have had really rainy weather the past couple of days, and we are wondering if maybe, you know, I left these trays right in my dehydrator, but my dehydrator is not airtight, so I'm wondering if maybe it rehydrated just a little bit. So I'm going to actually spread it back out on this tray and put it back in the dehydrator and let the powder dry out. But first we're going to try to reconstitute a little bit of this and see what it looks like when it's reconstituted. So well, it reconstituted really fast. I'm going to taste it to see if it tastes a little bit scorched, because it is darker. No, tastes just fine. Okay, we're going to leave this here to compare with the other that we're going to reconstitute. Yeah, this is clumping all over the place. So I'm just going to spread this out on this tray and put it back over in the dehydrator to dry out a little bit, and then we'll bring it back and put it back in the jar. And so it looks to me like this is going to be just fine to use in recipes once it is reconstituted. Okay, onward. I've had this out about a half an hour, and this top one is already feeling a little bit wet. Not wet, but like it has absorbed some of the moisture from the air. So we'll see. I may have to do the same thing to this. So I'm just going to put some in here. It's nice and dry, except for the tacky, little bit of tackiness. This one is not tacky because this first one was sitting on top of it, keeping it from, it's very humid in here. Do you feel the humidity, Jim?
Yeah, I'm getting all sweaty.
Oh, sorry. So this powder is much quicker than the other. The color is not that far off from the other powder. Okay, I will finish this off camera and we'll be back when everything is powdered. Well, you can see how ambitious I was with all these clean jars. And ta-da! This is what we got, about a quart plus the cup. And in this little bowl, I picked up some pieces that were on the countertop, so not all of those are powders, but I'm just going to put a tiny tad of water in there, and we're going to reconstitute this as well. Well, I got a little too much water.
Yeah.
There we go, this is better. So, difference in color between the two. This one might have gotten a little bit too done. So if you're going to dehydrate it, watch it closer than I did. This one looks about right. And people ask me all the time, how much water to how much powder of which foods? And my answer is, I don't know. And so you saw what I just did. I experiment and I put a little stuff in at a time, and this time I overshot the water, so I added a little bit more powder, and it was going to work out just fine. So I have some surprises in mind for this powder. We're going to come back and do another video on how to use pumpkin powder, and I'm going to show you one special thing that is a knockoff on a Starbucks product, and it is not drinkable. So I hope that piques your curiosity and you will come back when you see how to use pumpkin powder in an upcoming video. So this was an adventure. I learned some things. Hope you did too. And we will see you at our next video.